Thank you for coming back to the Vancouver Guy podcast. Today, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different, and not really that different. But when I started this podcast, I wanted to have guests on, and I wanted to do episodes myself, right? Because I wanted to talk about specific things that probably a guest wouldn't want to sit around for an hour. Like I just did a podcast on my dyslexia, and I'm going to do more business podcasts. But one of the ideas that I had is that I was going to have on, superstars, obviously, and then regular people, and then some of my more favorite people I'm going to have back. So on this episode, I have one of my more favorite people that I love. She was on earlier in the summer. She was on my second episode, and I'd like to welcome back my good friend, Stephanie French. Hey, Stephanie.
Hi, Kelly. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Thanks for having me back. This is so great.
Yeah, that's good. This is the first time that you're going to be in the new studio, eh? How do you like it?
Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, looking at it from the outside, walking in, it's a work of art. And then coming into the installation and seeing, it's just so quiet.
Yeah, it is. It's that's the whole idea. Like, I mean, when we were working on this idea, we were looking for, ultimate sound quality in everything that we were going to do, podcasts and music and voiceover and movie work. And so when we looked at it, this system is like, a world standard. It's Hollywood quality. It's up there. So
it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like something out of NASA. Like they've done such a beautiful design. The finishes. I mean, I love black, but everything about it, it's stunning.
Yeah, it came out good. Our engineer Spencer wants to call the control room, the Enterprise or something like that, because it is very spaceship, or But yeah, it's working out great.
What is that, SSR? What is it?
Yes, something like that. I don't know which. I don't know if it's Star Wars or Star Trek that he loves the most, right? But something like that. But it does give you that feeling. It's
gorgeous.
It's really nice to work in. Like that's the other thing.
Even the element of design and the padding.
The foam things.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
Yeah, it's turned out really well. Cool. Yeah, so we're thrilled with doing it, and I super enjoy doing my podcasts here at Get Ready Sound, one of my main sponsors, obviously. So how's things been?
Great.
How was the summer quickly at the pie shop?
It was okay.
Yeah,
we have a really good team, and it got a little hot there for a while, and we were worried, we were going to melt, but we jumped in the ocean after a busy shift, and we had a lot of people take away pizzas to the park and grab a bottle of wine, so that was excellent. Really promoted BC fruit, because a lot of the fruit farmers this year were working with a lot less fruit, so we made sure, we really supported the seconds that were coming in. There was this crazy sort of plague happening in the Okanagan with crickets. They were nibbling at the fruit.
Cool. Not cool, but that's strange.
Yeah, and they were just like taking a little nibble out, so you get these blemishes and these kind of like sandpaper-like texture on the exterior. And the fruit inside was perfectly fine, but not aesthetically pleasing to be purchased. Like it's hard to sell that at a market when people are paying top dollar.
Were you getting it at a better price?
Yes.
Nice, because food prices, are insane all over North America. I don't know about the world because I don't get to travel the world right now, but food prices and fruit, and it still kills me when I go in. The other day I went in just to get something for dinner, and a head of cauliflower was like $7.95.
Yeah, there's a lot of vegetarian restaurants that were supporting sort of this cauliflower steak. For $27 on the menu. And I don't even think they could have the cauliflower steak on the menu anymore.
It's crazy, like the prices of everything. I remember, especially during the summer, I always make sure that I get my fill of the peach pie because, again, it's...
Yeah, you got a couple, for sure.
I got a couple.
Those last-minute texts, can I have it without sugar? Because Charlene doesn't like extra
that's still, in my opinion, and it's my show, so it's basically the opinion that counts. It's just one of the most outstanding pies.
Yeah, the peaches are so good.
Yeah, it's just so good. You guys make it just so, like... when I say basic, I don't mean I mean, it's just the peaches and just a little bit of sugar, and it just like it's nothing. There's nothing in there that doesn't need to be in there. The crust is phenomenal, and it that's one of the pies that just doesn't last. I mean,
we had this really kind of cool scenario that happened quite a bit during those months of peach pie season, and we would have people, guests come in and dine with us for the pizza program, and then when it came to dessert, because they had been coming to the shop for so many years, they knew the level of quality in that peach pie that you were going to get. So they would just order a whole one and then crush it at the dining room, at their table, which was very fun to watch.
Easily, I can crush, especially the peach pie, because although you guys fill it up a shitload, it's still, a peach pie is still light. It's still just like, it's not a heavy pie.
Oh my God, it tastes like canned peaches.
Yeah, and then what's the other one?
Whole jar.
You guys did.
It's not.
You did a sour cherry one.
Oh
my God, I'd love that. I could crush half of that pie myself, like on my own. So if it's like me and Mitchell, it's gone, right? Like there's if he comes over, if he went, because he heard, right? He's like, Mom said you guys had gotten peach pie, and I'm like, yeah, I'm coming over. So it didn't last long. Well, that's good. I'm glad that the summer season was good for you guys, and
yep. Yeah, it was good.
The shop's still going good. It's been a while since I've been in there because it just doesn't fit with the hours that I'm doing things now. I'm kind of like...
Yeah, the hours have changed.
Yeah, later afternoon guy doing my podcast and working in the studio and, doing...
life.
Yeah, the artist life. Well, I'm doing some... I'm working with some artists in the studio doing music production and, helping them out. So, yeah, it was... Yeah, it's different. Lots of fun. It was a really good... start to the summer at the studio. This, what are we in October? So August, September, October. So, realistically, we've kind of been just up and running now for the last, 3 to 4 months. And it's going really well here too. We're super excited. It's going to be a busy year.
This will really change, I think, the way that you enjoy the winter. I know you don't have like really sad or sort of seasonal depression.
Yeah.
I don't think you suffer from that like a lot of my friends, but having something like this where you're coming in and you've got a plan and you're working with people and you're engaging, that's going to be so good, for you to have this warm, cozy space to go to, because it's going to be a rainy winter.
It will be, and I think you're 100% right. I think that'll really, contribute to the quality of the podcast. But yeah, I'm already planning on, obviously you're going to be coming back a lot because you're going to be one of my regulars because you know what's going on in Vancouver and you're very hip on everything that's going on in the world. You don't exclude yourself from not knowing the things that are going on stuff. But yeah, it's like I'm excited about just podcasting all winter, and because usually I do like. I try to have a couple of weeks where I do 3 or 4 podcasts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then that way, and then that way they're banked, right? And then
release them slow.
Yeah, and then the people that help me with it, because I can't do anything else except speak, have the time to edit them and put them all together.
But you'll learn. You'll hang out over their shoulder.
I'm just not gonna. I just want to talk. That's all I want to do. But yeah, I'm really excited about the winter season. I got a whole bunch of guests lined up that hopefully can make it. And and I'm still learning. This is going on, like, I think this is my 5th or 6th podcast, and and it's going really well. Me and the boss lady Tatiana sat down the other day and looked at my numbers, and a couple of them, now, again, people are going to be like, oh, whatever, but a couple of them have gotten up to 40 and 50 downloads. Like,
that's great.
Yeah, and ours has like 30 downloads and lots of listens, and this is just the beginning. And I was talking to one of our clients and friend, they were thinking about podcasting. I'm like,
when you're starting out, I mean, I remember when we started Instagram, right? That was like 12 years ago, and we had 400 followers for that good part of the first year or two. And now, we're over 10,000, active followers that you'll see kind of engaging and you can see within the insights there. And that's huge. Those are people interested in what you have to say. And then I think I've talked to quite a few people who have been listening to podcasts recently, and they've said, I really enjoy the ones that they release one a week, and they kind of have, and then we have friends that'll just crush them all. Like, we go for a big drive and just crush, podcast after podcast. And,
Yeah.
on a certain theme. And
when I started, I thought like once a month, because I didn't know how many I'd be able to do, and because I'd never done them before. So I was like, but we quickly moved to one every 2 weeks, and I think I'll stick to that for a while, because that seems to be the amount that I can produce. But right as soon as I did that, my numbers went up.
Yeah, and I think that's really important to keep people engaged, right? Keep the content.
Yeah, you bet.
Active and
if I can move to once a week, then for sure I will. But even in the podcasting world, that's what the numbers show you. That like the once a month one has to be more like something very specific and very focused. You're talking about black holes. So once a month, somebody talks about black holes. Okay. If it's more like mine, which is just general, I have friends and I have people and we talk about everything. The once every 2 weeks and then getting to the once a week, keeps people entertained.
Getting people to once a week, I think that's almost a full-time job or side hustle there. Yeah, it's a lot of work to prepare and
you bet.
Mentally prepare, physically prepare, get yourself down here, write notes.
You bet. And too, like we were supposed to do this last week.
Yes.
So, yes. you're and I haven't had a single guest that doesn't want to be on the show, but again, their life is busy and they're doing stuff. Like this morning, we were texting and you were like, yeah, I'll see you there and everything. And so this morning I had plans and I had to go get my license renewed. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I was sitting at home and I knew our time was here. Yeah. And I thought, I wonder what this experience is going to be like. Cause you only do it every 5 years. So you kind of forget. Oh my God. Sometimes the system works.
That could have been done online. I mean, they can switch that over.
They could.
We no longer need to go down there.
But it still only took me exactly like 15 minutes. I walked in, the girl was just like, who are you? I told her because I had a reservation online.
Oh, good.
Boom, boom, boom. Here's your number. Sit down.
You have to wait outside with your number?
No, there's no more of that going on. You can sit and bam, 15 minutes, all done. Back home having a coffee, waiting to come down to the studio. So I was rather impressed because, I remember in the old days, you could sit there for 2 or 3 hours waiting to get your driver's license renewed. Sure. So my ICBC experience this morning, went really well to now have my driver's license renewed and pay $70 for another 5 years. Yeah,
another 5 years. Yeah.
It worked out really well.
I think unless something changes, like you need your eyes checked or, you start shrinking, I just really don't think you need to renew your license for $75.
Yeah, it's it's kind of, I think it's a bit of a grab for sure, like a lot of things in the government. But the
DMV is
it worked. Yeah. I was not stressed out, but I was just waiting.
It'll be different when you start turning 80.
Yeah,
I remember my granddad would it was really important for him that he got his license renewed because he drove ladies to bridge, he drove to golf. It was really important that his license was maintained until one day he was like, you know what, I'm done driving.
Yeah.
And that we have my sister, we inherited one of his old vehicles and I love that. It's a little Toyota and it runs great. But I think he was a little nervous going down there because he had so many people relying on him to get around and he was such a chauffeur for the old ladies going to bridge that he needed to be able to pick them up and drop them off, and that's how he got people to these public events.
Yeah, you know what? And it's, I started driving, it's a little bit different nowadays, but I started driving when I was like 16 years old, right? That in BC back in the day, you got your license at 16. So, by the time you turn 80, you've been doing that activity
I have been driving, since I was 16. I had a birthday midweek. Yeah. Friday, my dad pulled me out of school early, picked me up, and we went down to the DMV and I took my driver's test and I aced it. It was very important that I got my driver's license. I didn't own a car till many years later, but just being able to drive was super important. I'm the oldest and he just really wanted me to drive.
Yeah.
And I was 16 in Ontario and that was great.
And then so, you're 80, you've been doing that activity all of your life. It's hard to give up because, it gives up some of your independence too, and then you have to rely on people. I think, probably nowadays it's better than ever with Uber and Lyft because now you have so many options that you can quickly get around really quickly. Yeah. Like,
So just to give you an idea of how I love this city, my truck died on Saturday. There's a ghost living in it. I think the old man that owned it before me has been haunting it. Anyways, the truck died and it's a 25-year-old little Mazda. I love that thing and it just wouldn't start.
There you go. Done.
So I got it towed yesterday down to the mechanic, and they figured it out. It's the starter. Great. Something that you can fix. Great. And I've been taking the public transit here. It's right outside the door. It's from my, super easy to get to. And, you just tap your card and you get on the train, and, the train system's pretty good.
Yep. Works well.
Yesterday we took, John and I took the train down to Chinatown to go for brunch, and then he went to physio because he's had his shoulder redone. And he'd hate me telling this story, but we go to leave Main Street SkyTrain station, and there's this gentleman who's like, he's a senior, and he butts right up behind John and basically cups his butt and just pushes his way through to get through, so he didn't have to tap to get out of the train station. And John was just like, "What the fuck, dude? Like, what are you doing?" Yeah. He's like, looks behind. He's like, "You little shit." Because John had to pay for transit. He's like, "You're a senior." And like, how can you be mad? But I think it was just this idea that he had gone so close and right up to him and just like right in there. And it was like, oh God.
Yeah.
Just to get through that gate for free.
For free, yeah. That's
but like, you can't be mad. He's a senior. Like, it's better him being off the road, I think.
I think so too, yes. Yeah, without a doubt. I've like a few weeks ago, I was on the road driving, going somewhere, and there was this lady, and I'm not kidding. It was just, she shouldn't have been out there. And I'm not going to make any big comment that you should, at this age, they should start getting tested. But she looked really, really old, and she wasn't driving any faster than 30K no matter what. And it was, she was just paralyzed at that speed.
I love my horn when it comes to...
It took her 3 minutes to make a right-hand turn.
It's probably an Uber driver, trying to find a house. That's what I always think. Yeah, someone is driving slow and they can't see the numbers, and they're just like...
Yeah, but hopefully by that time, when I'm like, because what am I now, 61? When I'm 80, this podcast will be so huge. I'll just have a driver drive me everywhere. The fame.
We won't be driving. No. We'll just have.
Did you see
magic cars?
Yes. Well,
I know.
I saw on the news. So I don't watch the news too much, but in Phoenix they have the float self-driving taxis, and so I went on YouTube. And there was obviously somebody going to do it. This whole lady, from start to finish of her trip, did it on a YouTube. And I was blown away because,
Are we driving down to Texas? Let's go on this taxi. Let's take a trip.
It was fun. It was unreal. The things that they had thought of, because I haven't thought about it that much. So,
sensors. Lots of sensors.
Yeah, you order the car. So just like an Uber or, anything like that on your cell phone. It comes, the car's locked. So you have to engage the number, whatever that is.
Yep.
Then they unlock. So then you get in, front or back, because they both have screens. And then it asks you to confirm who you are, right? And if you are more than one or two persons, because it wants to know.
Yep.
And then it makes you confirm your destination. And then it makes you confirm that you're ready to go. And you have to enter all of that. And then away you go. And away it drives. Now, like I said, the vehicle is, they look hilariously
Is there
bad.
A person?
Nope.
Okay.
Fully no person. So it has a huge camera on the roof and cameras everywhere. So they're ugly right now.
So it looks like the Google, Apple and the Google.
It looks exactly like the Google map thing. And I can't remember how far her trip went. It wasn't long because she just wanted to do it all live. And so it was like 8 minutes.
Who's sponsoring this?
I have no idea.
This product out?
Don't have any idea. And then so she got to her destination, and I think they have designated areas that they're supposed to go into, their systems, and goes in there and stops and says, yeah, is this your destination? Confirm, blah, blah, blah. Unlocks the doors for you then, so that, again, when you're out, and then she paid, and it was flawless. It was like, I'm like,
That sounds great until something goes wrong.
Yeah, but until something goes wrong. But that would be like saying, in 1903, when the cars first started hitting the road, if there weren't accidents. And if there were, of course there were, well, we have to stop. We can't evolve technology.
Carbon fiber versus
we can't
sheet metal.
but we can't evolve technology if someone's going to get hurt or killed. Well, that's just how it is. Yeah. Airplanes, when they first started flying and stuff like that, people were getting killed left, right, and center. And if we would have went, oh no, we can't have people getting killed. This technology is dangerous. I mean, air travel is paramount to the world now.
Yeah, about the musicians.
Yeah, so so there's going to be incidents.
Okay.
There's going to be incidents.
Yeah. You're all for it, is what you're saying. You're all for the
totally all for
AI
it.
taxi.
Yeah. Totally all for it. I think it's because I just think that it helps out so many more people. It helps out seniors, helps out people with disabilities.
Oh, yeah.
It helps out all those kind of people that can be marginalized that the system isn't designed for. They can use it incredibly. Because I watched another thing and they already have and that's one of the things they're actually keying on is the vehicles for disabled people. So
if
wheelchair accessible.
Quadriplegic, that would be your first purchase because right now you're working with makeshift kind of hokey vehicles, right?
Yeah. And two, as the system comes online and there's more of them, well, the prices will only go down and then competition will come in. And so it won't be a service that's it's so expensive,
Like the CD player.
Yeah.
In my time, I experienced the cost of a CD player and the cost of CDs, listening to music, watching movies, and come down to now, we don't even use a CD player.
Yeah, we don't even use it. But I remember the same thing too. I remember my wife loves audio stuff. I think the first CD player she bought was $1,500.
Oh yeah, my dad bought one.
And I was
For sure.
Are you insane?
I remember going to the audio store.
And
my mom was like, what are you purchasing?
And what did they come down to?
This is going to be the future. It's quality sound. Everybody's putting music out on CDs. We need to have this. And my dad was really into music, so we had an audio room in our house with incredible speakers, and it was a listening room,
Yeah.
So but it was that versus the CD player was. There was two products that came out on the market at the same time, and they're very competitive. But one was a laser disc.
Yeah.
And those were huge. They were the size of records.
Yeah.
They were massive and very expensive.
Yeah.
And they were putting movies out on those, and it was just they were too much.
Yeah, I remember that, and the first time I saw the laser disc thing, I was it's just where's the compact disc or but yeah, $1,500 to then I think the last one that she ever bought was $200 or $300, and the quality was a million times better. It was the most incredible. So that's what I like to see with technology. I just think that technologies like that can open up so much more for people that have disabilities and have problems getting around, or like I said, or maybe you're not 80 or 90, maybe you're just I don't know, someone that just got their shoulder operation and they can't drive themselves around.
Oh, I guess you have to actually have someone sign you out. You have to have a physical person bring you home and stay with you for 24 hours.
So you have an injury on your leg or your whatever, and you can't drive for a week or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
How perfect is that?
You know what I was excited about? So pre-pandemic days when we were, in the infancy of planning this sort of wine bar concept, we were really worried about having not owned and operated a restaurant before, always working in restaurants but not being responsible for the restaurant. There was no Lyft or Uber at that time. So this is 5 years ago. Lyft was first and then Uber came shortly after. But these were all pilot projects here. When we started this idea, Lyft was. Yeah. And so we were like, okay, well, if people are going to come down here right now, we just have cabs. There's not public transit to where we are. Buses, but no trains. And so we were like, okay, well, the bus system's a bit garbage over here. It's hard. There's not a lot of frequency. They're not a major route.
We have an old road system, so.
And they're not reliable. No. They're not on time. Our buses here are difficult. But the big thing for us was we can call someone an Uber.
Yes.
And we can have an account hooked up where we can make sure that person gets home safely. Yes. Also, everyone today, this is 5 years later, everyone has access and has on their phone the app so they can call.
Yes.
And so you're like, okay, well, the liability is off us, if you're getting a cab. Cabs are pretty competitive.
They got competitive because they had to. Either get competitive.
But they weren't for a while. They were
it was a monopoly.
It was $50 to get from my house to the airport. And I was like, it used to be $20.
It was a monopoly. And that's why I loved Uber and all these coming in. But just think, okay, so that was 5 years ago now.
5 years.
I use especially when I travel because I don't have a car, and I was just down in Seattle, but I just parked. I was going to a concert. I just parked my van and Ubered everywhere because it's expensive to park and stuff.
And how is your bill? Still cheaper than renting a car, paying for parking, getting tickets.
I had my own vehicle, but it was still cheaper than parking.
Yeah.
Okay, and then cheaper than me driving, not knowing where I'm going. And so much more convenient. So I was saying, I was staying out in West Seattle and I was going right downtown. I had no idea where to park or anything. I Ubered to the venue. He dropped me off right in front. I stepped out, walked into the door, and
Yeah.
and
I think
it
that's really changed the way that people socialize.
Oh, for
like,
sure.
We have friends that come over, and they Uber home or they train home.
Yeah.
Which is such a nice feeling. You're like, would you like should I open that bottle of wine? Yeah, let's do it because I know that you're going to get home safe.
You know what the funny thing about that is, though? And it's funny that we're just talking about this because I was, for some strange reason, because I just like to look into things. So I would have thought, or you would have hoped, that, the Uber and Lyft system, all these things would have helped with drunk driving. Right. So you would think, okay, well, drunk driving, the incidence of it and, when they do the road checks of it, obviously must have come down. Do you know that they have not come down one bit?
Wow.
And then I looked into why.
This is the day after, it's like Christmas, this is like New Year.
Nope, this is all the time. All the time.
I haven't seen a road check in a while.
So I went through one the other day.
What? Yeah, Where were you? Where were you going?
I was going out to Richmond. I don't know. It was
like
just a weird
night?
one. No, during the day. So they run them. So I looked into why the drunk driving numbers haven't come down. Because again, you have taxis, you have rapid transit, you have Uber, you have Lyft, you have all these things to do with it. Do you know why? Because the people that drink and drive. They just don't care. Yeah. And they are the same people all the time.
Yeah.
It isn't this new group of drinking and drivers. It's a group of people that just don't feel...
It's a habit. It's a mentality.
Yeah, it's a mentality. And they continually do it. And then I looked into stats with DUIs, and the majority of them are repeat.
I grew up rural, very rural, and we definitely had some friends. I definitely had some friends' parents lose their license. We grew up, very rural. You have a couple of drinks, you drive home on country roads.
Yeah. So,
very popular thing to do in the 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
You go to a bush party and.
But yeah, it does work really good. Like for my kids, specifically my youngest daughter, because she does like to drink. She's like her old man.
But it's a conversation you've had with your kids, right?
And
it's
it was never an issue. Never an issue because we always told them, if you're drinking, if you go out to a restaurant or a bar or a friend's house and you drink and you get drunk, you call us and we will pick you up.
Yes.
And there's no shame about it. You're not going to get in trouble because whatever. It's just, it's part of socializing and being young. But if you do drive and we find out or you get caught, the punishment will be severe. You'll wish you'll never done that. So they always did that. And so none of them have ever been in trouble that way because they've always just respected that.
And your kids grew up in the city. I mean, you guys have a very, you have great communication with your kids, you're friends with your kids, you work with your kids, you encourage your kids to be good people. Yeah. And so I think that's a huge part of it. It's like, there's no shame in getting drunk. You just need to plan your way home.
Yeah.
That's
just make a plan.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in getting drunk. There's no shame in, like, as we raise them, there's no shame in making mistakes. Your
but
kids,
getting in your car and going and driving on the highway or home, like when ridiculous. You can come get your car the next day or the next night, like park it. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just plan ahead, right?
Yeah, plan ahead. But, I'm sure there's some parents that, scream and yell and be mad and like, why, you never drank? You never been, I never had that, especially as a parent.
So let me ask you this. In Vancouver, we have a culture that smokes pot and drives. Yeah. It's huge here. And so I know that people don't think one is different than the other. And some people are like, oh, they're not the same. Yeah. And so, you could be pretty high and get in the car and drive home.
I agree.
And I don't know how they differentiate. I don't know if there's a test. I'm pretty naive to that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. But... Yeah, and I'm not going to say I've never smoked marijuana. It was just never my big thing because I always had allergies and I have trouble breathing through my nose anyways. And I never smoked cigarettes because all of that would just make me cough and gag and I couldn't breathe afterwards. I'd be like, so not a big, but yeah, you'd have to be because yeah, you'd be wasted. Yeah. I don't know what they do with that. I think there is a test coming, but it's difficult. But, again.
I just think for the restaurants, that has been a real big positive because restaurants struggle so much to, it's big here to sell booze and good alcohol, right? And it's expensive and you want people to drink and have a good time.
You bet.
And if they're going to order if every person in the room's going to order one extra drink, that's going to make a big difference on that night's bottom line.
Yeah, bottom line, you bet. That's every time that I've ever worked in a restaurant, that's, sell the booze because the markup is huge, right? So so these new systems like the self-driving taxis, just how much more easier that'll be. Because even though I love Uber and Lyft, they have some weird times, like late at night, there isn't maybe a lot out there, especially during the weeknights, because they don't have to work. If they don't want to, they jump in their car. Yeah. So imagine when the self-driving vehicles, 24 hours a day.
Vancouver, I think, is actually really well designed to be a self-driving car community because there's very few highways. Yeah. And there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of major arteries that you could maybe even remove the pedestrians vehicle, like the private vehicle, just have public vehicles on. Yeah, you know how you go to New York and it's just
could you imagine
company vehicles, delivery, and pretty much cabs?
But you know what? In the future, now I don't know how many new cities are really getting designed, but imagine if you were a new city being designed, you could design half of your roads for self-driving. Just think maybe people would never, in another 20 years, we'll just think we're in a Hollywood movie. In another 50 years, no one will be driving. It'll all just be self-driving vehicles, autonomous.
I hate driving. So John doesn't like driving. Yeah. It's not his favorite thing to do. He has a little bit of road rage. He just finds people in Vancouver's driving skills are shit. And so I drive him everywhere, except if we go to the Okanagan to visit family or friends, and he'll drive because that's a highway drive. It's straight shoot. But into the city, if we go for brunch, if we go, to a show, I drive. So I would be really happy to not drive.
Especially in the city. Yeah. I mean, the most aggravation about driving in the city is the other terrible drivers. Yeah. When it's 10 or 11 o'clock in the city, it's no problem. You get around.
And the road work right now is out of control. I feel like we're living in Quebec.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I feel like we're in Montreal right now. The amount of road work that's happening and the developments and the condos going in, and they have to tear up the road to put in a new system, which is fine. I agree with that. I think it's really important to upgrade that stuff so we don't end up like Quebec with old rotten pipes. But every major street, every major artery has roadblocks.
Yeah, everywhere. It's crazy.
The amount of development this year is more than I've ever noticed before. And I've been driving around town for 10 years for, the shop picking up stuff. I'm on the road every day for some reason.
I think it was because of COVID. They were so
afraid to spend the money.
Well, and it slowed everything down. They just could only get a certain amount of crews out that they are behind now. And that's the thing, infrastructure is highly important, and it may not look like they're always upgrading, but they always are. And I think COVID put them a year or 2 years behind. Yeah. So now they're just, because I see crews out there working Saturdays and Sundays.
Which
and
I'm okay with.
But that's a lot of money. The money they're making on a Sunday, like huge overtime. So they're putting it to the wall.
That's another story.
Yeah, that's another story. But the whole driving system's cool. And I'll tell you how I like it because it can be adapted. And I'll talk about something that I did recently. We'll go on to food. But me and my son Mitch, he was just like, he wanted to go out to dinner with me. He's like, okay, old man, let's go out for dinner, guys' night, and we can talk about.
Where'd you go?
We went to Elisa. Elisa, it's got an A at the end. I always just say Elise. And so we didn't Uber both ways because my wife was around. She's like, oh, I'll drive you guys down. I went, oh, perfect. And
your old stomping ground.
Yeah, and I said, and then we'll just Uber home, right? So and so we went into Yale, and two. The parking in Yaletown.
There isn't any.
Yeah, and was it $5 a minute or something? So it's ridiculous.
No, it's not bad. It's less than $15 for the night. Yeah, it's pretty cheap.
I think that's what it said. It said $15 for the night. But so we went down there, and I've been dying to get down there since it opened. One of the reasons, because I like steakhouses, but the other reasons, one of the guys that I worked with in a bunch of different kitchens has been working there since it opened, right? So, and he's always been, come on down, man. It's like, it's really good,
okay,
right?
so you went down there.
Went down there.
And I'd be curious to hear what you thought, because I love the room. Yeah. I've been there probably half a dozen times now. I absolutely love it. Yeah. I think the service is incredible. I think the bar is a piece of art. It's gorgeous. It's an incredible collection of booze. The entire wall is lined with good booze.
You know what? I think this is the thing that I've found is that either you're a steakhouse person or you're not, right? So, and I love a steakhouse. So how would I rate this one? Well, this one was outstanding. Again,
Did you have steak?
Yeah, well, we had meat. Oh, did we have meat? So the room is gorgeous, fabulous room, and some people too. Like again.
So I've talked to many people about if they want. They're like, oh, where should I go somewhere nice? Actually, I had a really nice dining experience at Lisa. So I this is what I recommend.
Yeah.
But I also know that some friends are not big steak house kind of people,
right?
And so they do a really good job of catering to pescatarians, people who enjoy lamb, or
well, that's what my buddy said, but we weren't there for that.
It's
he said they do great seafood. They have a great raw selection, oysters, everything.
Yeah.
So but we, me and Mitch, we love going to steakhouses because we both love meat.
So let's just backtrack here a second. So Elisa's in the top 100. I think in North America, if not the world, it's in the top 100.
Yeah.
They've been rated.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah, and my buddy, whose name is Mooney, well, that's what the guys call him.
Nickname.
His nickname. He told us that it is the number one steakhouse in Canada. So for 2 or 3 years running now.
I believe it.
Yeah. So and
do you know what I rate restaurants on? My own personal. I know last time we talked about the
bigger things, but
Michelin, but
right away.
Okay. Wine selection.
Yeah.
It has to be approachable. There has to be some wines that are recognizable, approachable, price point wise. And also, I really love when you go somewhere and they have the proper glass that they're serving the wine in. I think that's so unique. I think that's special. Yeah. Vancouver doesn't do a lot of that. We're into the
more casualness of it all.
Yeah. The other thing, dessert. The pastry chefs there are some of the best in the city.
Yep.
And their desserts are gorgeous.
Yeah.
They're absolutely on point.
Yeah. No, it was it was a good experience, and me and Mitch have gone to a lot, and just me and him, and obviously my wife Charlene, and
you guys all enjoy food.
Yeah, and
you all enjoy the service that comes with
eaten it. All kinds of we've done the Michelin star thing, and we've done the super low end Michelin star thing, and everything in between. So between her and me, we've eaten all sorts of levels. She's just not a huge steakhouse fan, right? So that's all
Fair
good.
Enough. Yeah, she's not a big meat eater.
No, not a big meat eater. And so, so me and Mitch really like to do it. When we were in Vegas last year, I mean, we hit 2 steakhouses down there, 2 of the best ones. So, we have a good knowledge of what to do. The other thing that I really like, and I've tried to teach my kids this, and my youngest Dakota has really picked up on this, and she's like, Pa, you are just so right. If you like a place, it doesn't matter what it is, right? It's a casual restaurant or your casual bar or this or whatever, and you're going to spend a certain amount of money going out, right? That's just how it is, especially she's 28. She goes out quite a bit. Go to that place a lot. Learn who those people are, and then it becomes even better. Mm-hmm. Learn who the chef is. This
is the third one I was wanting to share with you.
Learn who the waiters are. Learn the bartender's name, because when you go in there, they're going to treat you even better. And she's like,
I like this. I like this.
She goes, I go to this, I can't remember which restaurant she was going to for a while. She goes, you are so right. I just walk in, it's busy, boom, I'm at the bar.
Okay, but we have to talk about this on like a little bit more of a critical analysis. So just to clarify here, you're saying that as a customer, it is important as a customer to go in and learn the faces and the names of the people that are servicing you.
You bet.
While you're in there.
Yeah.
The hospitality side, you're reversing it, which is super important.
You bet.
And that is the biggest challenge with Vancouver right now, I think. As someone who owns and operates a small business with a really good star team who are genuinely honest and are appreciated for that, if you come in in a bad mood, it's really hard for us to have the energy right now to turn your mood around.
Yeah.
If you think you could come in and you can be rude to us as the host of the space And it's, our space is so small. And it's like you're coming into our home. Well, you get treated incredibly well. Let's just, I don't want to compare Adam's to apples here, but the service at Elisa is so good.
Yeah.
And they're honest and genuine, and their attention to detail is incredible. Yep. And they don't put on a fake attitude, which I so appreciate. And your kids would love that because it's real. Yeah. They start talking as soon as there's a hint of that you might be in hospitality or have some sort of background. Yeah. There's a turn in the conversation, and there's also a turn in the vibe. Like the air changes and everyone just relaxes. Yeah.
My wife and a lot of my friends over the years, because I have cooked a lot in restaurants, and I'm not going to call myself a chef, although my wife and everyone else says I'm a chef because I cook really well. I like to be a cook. But they used to drop that all the time going, oh, yeah, my husband's a chef, right? Changes right away.
It does. Yeah. But today what I'm saying is like you don't have to necessarily point it out. No. There's an air about you, and it's a positive. It's a very comfortable headspace to be in, and when you go in there and you respect what they're doing,
well, again,
it becomes a totally different experience.
You hit the nail on the head right there. And not just for the restaurant industry, but for every industry, even for what we're doing here in the studio. If we already have, if somebody comes in with an attitude, right, of like, oh, well, I've done this before. Oh, well, this is just a studio. All that. Oh, okay, great. No problem. We do our work and everything. But when people come in with the attitude of like, oh my God, this is fabulous. Like, like they're excited to be here, no matter how many times they've worked in a studio. Same with when you go into a restaurant. So my next thing is too, like, I like it when I have really good service. Now, obviously I know food, and my buddy works there. But like I said, you can cultivate this in any restaurant that you like.
Yes, you can.
Like I said, I don't know what number, but let's just say you have $1,000 a month to spend going out.
Okay.
Okay. So, to my mind, and this is what I've always done and my wife. So if I have $1,000 a month to spend going out, and that's dinners or drinks or whatever it may be, should I go and spend $100 at 10 different places and then never go back again and have some good random experiences and some good not so much experience? Not what I do. I look at what I like, and I know what I like. I go there. Then if I like it, I continue to go there. I want to spend my money with those people just as if how much money I've spent with you guys over the years hanging out, and we've created a relationship. It's not a relationship of not like, well, I'm the customer and you are serving me. Yeah, it is that. But we've created this relationship. You guys used to like, boom, know what kind of coffee I want right away. I didn't even have to ask what kind of
Kelly,
pie.
You're quite unique in this respect because you had also your own mug. I mean, there was a point where when we started out, we only had paper cups, and you're like, you went to I think Space Lab and grabbed a mug, and I forget what it was. I know that mug is still floating around
somewhere, right? But yeah, so that's what I like to do. So my $1,000 is going to get spent between $250 at this place. I like to do $250, and then those people appreciate it. You become a regular, and if they don't appreciate it, then you move on. It's like it's simple and easy. If I don't get the service and the appreciation for becoming a regular, then the other thing is too is like when we went to Elise, right? So me and Mitch are like planning it. We looked at the menu online nowadays. It's like great and everything. And so we got in there, like I said, beautiful room.
It's a well-designed menu.
Great service. Yeah. We had told the lady that we wanted to sit in my buddy's section. She was all good. As soon as we walked in, and she was like,
did you put that request in online?
Yeah. And she was like, oh my God, you're David's friends. Oh yeah. You already, like, he was so excited you're coming. They already knew. Sat down. We already had an idea that what we wanted to get, right? So they have like a bunch of tartars. So they have this like trio of tartars. And so then, one of our questions were like, oh, Dave, but it doesn't have the smoked bison. No problem. Replaced. Boom, boom. Okay, great. And then we were like, okay, steaks, we're thinking of this. And he's like, okay, no problem, guys.
Was it a busy restaurant?
It was full. Oh my God. And so he's like, okay, Kelly, you're getting the ribeye. He goes, you guys are sharing it anyway. So yeah, we're sharing. Okay, we'll get this ribeye from PEI. It's fabulous, blah, blah, blah. And
right,
Mitch,
they do Washington, Okanagan,
and
then they do PEI.
Yeah.
They have
meat from everywhere.
Yeah.
Then Mitch got
Wagyu.
and then Mitch got the sirloin strip or the New York strip, whatever is from PEI, right? So then, and I loved it because, boom, drinks were there. And he goes, I was like, what about sides? He goes, boom, don't worry about sides.
Did you guys sit in the restaurant or at the bar?
No, at the restaurant. And away he went, and the food came back, and Mitch was like, he didn't ask us how we wanted the steaks done. I said, you don't have to ask when you're working with Mooney. And I said, you shouldn't have to ask in a place like this. Unless you are more knowledgeable than they are, they're going to know how to cook that steak the best. Is it going to be rare? Most likely not.
Of course they want to do it the way you want it, because that's how you're going to have the best experience. Yeah, I appreciate when people ask me how I'd like my steak.
Yeah, but
eggs, I think they should always be runny, but that's just me.
That's just you.
That's just why would I go out and get an egg that's overcooked? Yeah. But anyways,
and then when the steaks came though, they were perfect, right? Because the ribeye was about an inch thick, and it had been cooked like medium rare. Because
let's talk about how they cooked your meat. They have an absolutely beautiful kitchen. Yeah,
like wood fired.
It is.
It's like unreal.
Oh, it's a dream. Yeah. It's a dream kitchen. Probably a bitch to clean, but that is one of the most beautiful kitchens in the city. Yeah. They have several departments as well. Yep. They have it set up, and it's the wood burning is a showstopper. Is it charcoal or wood?
Oh, it's wood.
Wood, yeah. It's a showstopper, and it has the rotisserie. It has the levels. And I think that's one of the criteria for being one of the best steakhouses, because you're going to get the flavor off of the wood on the steak.
Yeah. And then, the overall experience though was like great. It's 5-star. Everything we had was delicious. There wasn't a miss on anything. Now, people are going to go, oh yeah, I've looked at that. It's not cheap. No, it is not cheap. And can it be expensive? Well, if you're going to order Wagyu, which is $60 an ounce, well, of course it can be expensive. But the meal that we had, me and Mitch,
you actually can't eat that. I'm just going to put that out there. You can't eat that much Wagyu.
No, it's like the foie gras of too steak.
Rich.
No, it's too rich.
Yeah, you have a little bit.
I'm not crazy about it anyways. It's just not my thing. It's too not meaty enough. It's so gentle.
Yeah, it's very delicate. Yeah.
So, but it's like, so what we ate, me and Mitch were both full. Like I said, we had, the trio of carpaccio or tartare. We had a carpaccio, right? Because we wanted to try that. And then we had this imported burrata salad, right? Oh, fabulous, right? The
crudo is also very good. They do the tonnato. I think it's still on the menu. It's very good.
We had 2 steaks. We had a couple or 3 sides, or 2 or 3. We had the onion rings. We had some. It was.
Do you want to know how I found this place originally? I think it was a year plus ago, and I was a little homesick. I get that way sometimes. I lived out here for almost 20 years, but still I get a little homesick. And so I grew up with Sunday dinner. So Yorkshire puddings, prime rib. I grew up with, very English sort of Sunday dinner. And I hadn't had one in years. And there was no way I was going to cook one myself. So I Googled. I was like, there's got to be a pub. There's got to be somewhere.
That's doing like a Sunday dinner?
Yep. Okay. And on Sundays, they have Yorkshire puddings and prime rib. And they only do so many. And I went down there on the train. And I dressed up because it looked fancy and had quite a few dollar signs. And I go down, I sit at the bar, it's 9:15, and they have one order left. Oh my. And that Yorkshire pudding was perfect. Awesome. And the prime rib was perfect. Everything about the meal, I ordered a glass of red, I ordered the desserts, I ordered 2 desserts. I actually ordered 3 desserts.
Oh my.
So they have a baked Alaskan with peanut butter, etc. Absolutely, such a stunning showstopper kind of dessert. And then I took away the beignet and the macaroons, and they were
unreal. Yeah. They brought out macaroons for us too, complimentary. He did a couple of
They're always different flavors.
Yeah. And so cool. But not overall. Yeah, it's a phenomenal restaurant. Like I see why it gets the ratings now. Is it a top table or is it a? I got no idea.
Open a top table group. I think.
Yeah, I don't know who owns it, but yeah, it's great. But I love going on. So after we did it the next day, I go on to, the website I hate the most, which would be Yelp. And I just love reading,
me too.
crazy people reviews of like, oh my God, I would never pay that much money ever again. It was such a ripoff and stuff. Going to Earl's is just, like, why did, and in Vancouver, I know, but in
Earl's
Vancouver
does not have a proper cooked steak or good sides.
Yeah, and the thing that kills me in this city, the thing that kills me is that all these people always revert back to comparing to Earl's as if Earl's is a standard that we should live up to.
I think Earl's and White Spot for me are in the same category.
Yeah, like come on. Like you can't even compare these two restaurants. Oh yeah, it's better value to go to Earl's. There was all these crazy ones. Somebody wrote that you had to, mortgage your house. Well, yeah, it's an expensive restaurant. If you can't go out to eat and you're going to be spending I can't even, you're going to be spending more than $100 a head.
So let's talk about that steakhouse and the quality of product that you're getting and the quality, the attention to detail that you're getting. It's flawless.
Yeah.
I know that people, some friends have gone and they're like, the steak was okay. And I was like, yeah, but you can't fucking cook steak. So what are you comparing this to?
Yeah, exactly.
If you're going to have a steak, know your cuts.
Yeah.
Know how you like it.
Yeah.
Think about, what you're drinking with it, the company that you're with, right? That's all part of it.
Maybe that's why, I'm not saying steakhouses aren't popular. They are. But yeah, really, how many people really know their cuts? I do. You do, because we're in the food industry. I just love cooking steak all summer long. And you could ask my kids. I cook a phenomenal steak, I know you phenomenal. So yeah, this place was awesome, right? So if you don't know anything about steak,
if they can do it as good as you can as better,
it was better. Come on, so good.
If you want to go to there's a sort of a lack of bistros in this town right now, sadly, but there was a good amount of bistros pre-pandemic, and I love going to a bistro and getting steak and fries, steak and frites, right? And so, peppercorn sauce, whatever, and getting those cheap cuts. So for, $25, you could get steak and fries and a glass of wine, right?
Yeah.
Maybe your bill's under $40. The bistro. You can't do that right now.
Nope.
There isn't really anywhere you can go and get a cheap steak and fries. It doesn't exist.
No. It's there.
And it's not cheap. It's $45.
Yeah.
For a cheap piece of meat.
Tough. I mean, I'm for that style of restaurant, not the lower end, and not, when I say lower end, I don't go to dives, but affordable, right? So but nowadays, what does affordable mean? Even
$45 for a hand cut potato and a aioli, and then a pepper sauce. Yeah. And a piece of 6 ounce, 5 ounce piece of steak, which is usually cut a flank or a
but I mean, affordable. I mean,
flank steak usually, right? That's your bistro cut.
10 years ago, I was going to dim sum, and it would be maximum $25 a head when you pigged out and you were rolling. We went to dim sum a few months ago.
And it was dim sum on Friday. It was great.
Yeah, $50 a head nowadays and stuff. So I'm just wondering, and I'm not saying, oh well, whatever. No, it's expensive to go out now.
If you're going out celebratory, you're not going out sort of once a month or a couple times a month for a good meal. You're just going out once a month, and you go to this and you have a meal, and your bill's $600, right? Yeah. For 2 people to dine, which is pretty on point, I think.
Yeah.
$500-$600 after generous tax and tip and so a $600 meal, if you go buy groceries, you're gonna spend right now a crazy amount of money on groceries.
It's bizarre how much the food prices has gone up. And
so my cousin was just visiting from the UK for the weekend. He came to visit Andy and I. His name is Andy as well.
He just came from the UK for the weekend, or here longer than that?
No, he came for the weekend to visit.
Just 2 days.
3. Yeah.
And then he's going back to the UK.
He has a conference in Chicago.
I was going to say, holy crap, that's a long way to come just to say hi to you guys for the weekend.
But we don't see each other very often, right? And it's a long way to come. But he's got a couple of kids. He's got 3 kids and a lovely wife. And we spent a couple weeks with him pre-pandemic in London and had a great time. And we've been visiting each other back and forth pretty much our whole lives. And he's a little bit older than us, 5, 6 years, 7, 8 years older than me. And he's got some friends who are living in Argentina. And the friend from Argentina was, with him in the UK, and they were at a pub, and he was asking, what's inflation like right now? And my cousin said it's around like, I don't know, 20-30%, I think. Because you got to consider electricity. You got to consider the war with Russia.
Yeah.
You have to consider what's going on in Palestine right now. Like, there's a lot going on in the UK. A lot going around.
Which affects them way more than us.
Yeah. Without getting into the politics of it all,
no.
The cost of goods in the UK is very high. And I said here, they're saying it's around 14% inflation.
Yeah.
In the last...
Overall.
Yeah.
With everything, yeah.
In Argentina, this guy said it was about 120%. Like,
yeah, I don't even understand that.
So your gas, your heat, your groceries, everything, right?
Yeah, it's wild.
Over 100%.
Yeah, I know. It's like how can you even do that? How does because even let's just say
they've gone up.
Yeah, it goes up and down. It's crazy,
but
yeah. I mean, I just think it's crazy here. I just think the food prices, when I was driving in today, it was on the news, and the government again is like, oh, we're going to call the big heads in and why aren't the food prices coming down? And I have the same argument every time, especially for food and gas. First of all, we all need food. Okay. It'd be great if we didn't, but we all need food. So it's the most captive market there is. That's why it's a great business to get into. That's why Costco and Safeway and Sobeys make multiple billions of dollars a year, because everybody needs to eat. But as the consumers, since we are a captive market and we don't have a choice, we do have a choice. We can control a market if we actually had some sense as a consumer group to control ourselves. What do I mean by that? Simply and easy. You, as a group of people, right, just don't go in to any grocery store and don't buy any pineapples, don't buy any bananas, and don't buy any strawberries, okay? Because all those things come from a million miles away in the middle of the winter especially. They cost tons of money to get here. And if you just did that, you would scare the crap out of all those people, because then people would, these people know what they're doing. They're not buying the pineapples. They're not buying, are they getting together as a group of consumers? And they will go, boom. And then you say to them, yeah, we want these prices lowered, or we're just not going to buy it for 1 week even. If you don't buy milk for 1 week, you know how much the price would come down? Because they have to move that milk. It's the same with gasoline. I've said this for years. The way to control gas prices is not to buy gas, because that's ridiculous. We all need gas. Once a week, pick one company, Chevron, let's say, just as an example, and don't buy gas from Chevron. They would lower the price, because gas has a shelf life. Mm-hmm. Okay, remember last week when gas prices were really low?
For the long weekend.
Yeah, you know why? It's because there's a glut of gas on the West Coast, and they had to move it. And it can only sit in those tanks, the storage, for a few months, and it starts to go bad. It's a pair. So if we just went, yeah, everybody, don't buy gas from Chevron this week. Within 2 or 3 days, it would be down into a price, and then you go, yeah, we'll start buying it when it's at $1.25. I mean, they still will make billions of dollars, but as a group of people, right? Because we all, and this is my pet peeve, we all say the same thing. The other day I saw on television these protesters stopping a fuel truck, stop oil refining, and every single one of them had on synthetic clothing made from oil. Every single one of them is in part of the oil community. They weren't in wool clothing. They weren't wearing leather shoes. They had every outdoor piece of gear there was, right?
Like Gore-Tex?
Yeah, Gore-Tex and
Gore-Tex
waterproof.
made out of?
It's made out of petroleum. It's a petroleum product.
So I did a fantastic, I had a fantastic opportunity earlier this week. I did a workshop with, I was invited by Arc'teryx to do a workshop. So we had the IT department in. From Arc'teryx, and we did a workshop. We made pear pies. Nicest group of people. Cool. Oh my God, they were so cute. And they were all wearing very nice outdoor clothes.
Yeah, I guess so. If they work for Arc'teryx, like some of the most expensive outdoor clothing there is.
That company's been around for 25 think over 25 years.
Yeah,
bought and sold a few times. But still, their sort of headquarters is on the West Coast here in North Van, and they employ a lot of friends of mine in different areas, design, customer service.
Yeah, I've known over the years with my rock climbing. I knew the two guys that started it, and I've known a lot of people that have worked there too. So yeah, it's great. But it's all petroleum products. Every synthetic thing that you wear that's waterproof. Yeah. So Gore-Tex, doesn't matter what it is all a petroleum product, right? It's just it's a form of plastic. Any polyester is, right. So the point I'm trying to make though is just like we're all the same. We all just bitch and complain. Stop oil. Well, you're wearing nothing but oil. I'm sure you drove to that event. It's like it's so ridiculous. I want to save the world, but I don't really want to do anything to save the world. I recycle. Yeah. Recycling does, very little too. So I'm just saying, if you want food prices to come down, just don't buy the most ridiculous stuff. Don't buy kiwis. Don't buy pineapple. Don't buy bananas in the middle of the winter. Buy your food. And I'm not saying don't go to Safeway. Go to Safeway. But buy stuff that, it can be produced here locally. we have a huge tomato industry in BC, greenhouses. That's great.
In the slow food moment, of the sort of the philosophy around slow food, there's always been this expression, vote with your dollars, buy, buy local, buy. And so that's been rooted in the ethos of our company. We've had a lot of control over who we buy from, what we buy, and when we buy it. And so I have a bit of a predicament. One of them is that I need certain things. Yeah. I really do. Like certain things we could kind of get creative and do without in terms of like packaging. But even packaging, we source certain kinds of packaging from certain suppliers made with certain materials. Like it's very important to us. And then, we don't have any branding, any like printing on our boxes or extra design elements that are costing. We're just buying very generic sort of run-of-the-mill stuff and stamping on it, like very primitive kind of branding and marketing. But then we have like certain things that we need, like sugar. We do need sugar. Yep. Recipes that... we can work with honey, maple syrup, agave, alternatives, but the cost of that is 500% more than cane sugar. Yeah. And so Rogers had gone on strike about a month ago, 3 weeks ago, and I was like, oh shit, should we stock up on sugar? Like that's something that's really important in our business, having access to sugar and flour.
Flour, I was gonna say, yeah.
We have been buying Anita's organic flour. And so that's a great company with a great set of ethos, but they're not specific to BC. They're just a BC company by BC, it's like, but the grain is coming from across the country. Yeah. We're working with, dairy producers, cheese in particular, and the dairy that we've been buying is made here. So we're not buying dairy that's being produced somewhere else, like in another country. It's all BC produce or cheese. And I know that sounds crazy, and the cost of doing business like that doesn't make any sense, but it's how I feel that it's going to make a change.
Yeah, well, and too, it's
and I don't think I'll see the change in my lifetime.
No, probably not. But and too, the other part of it too is that it's your business. Now, maybe not everyone else has those same feelings, but because you do, that just makes you appreciate your business that much more, and makes you want to come into work, and makes you it's following your I don't know what you call it, but just your ethos and your morality center. It's same with us running this place. We have some standards. We want to work with certain people. We want to do certain things. Even when we built this thing, this is a Canadian built system. Right? We really wanted
Montreal.
It's out of Quebec somewhere. Yeah. So we really wanted to, work within Canada to, so that, and two, we weren't spending American dollars, like even make it more expensive. Yeah. So, and it just makes it, in the long run, it makes it, you put more than just a business attitude into it. You put your emotional feelings and it makes doing business that much easier because you're proud of it.
Nothing's perfect, right?
Nothing's perfect.
I can spend weeks, months analyzing how to hopefully work. I have goals, right? We all have goals, things I want to change, things I want to do, implement. But, there's certain restrictions, and we've definitely been hindered in the last couple of years by moving forward. And now we're trying to find our groove again, and there's a group of people that have been coming, and they trust us that we are doing the right thing, and they see it and they taste it. And I know that our product isn't necessarily more expensive than anyone else, and it's not available all the time. But I think there's something that I'm just trying to work out is like, damn, I wish I could just buy that like cheap shitty flour.
Yeah, no,
I wish I could buy that cheap cheese, that cheap olive oil. I wish I could find like the cheapest, shittiest thing and kind of like get away with it.
Yeah, no.
But it's like I can taste it. I can taste that it's not nice on my tongue texturally. Yeah. There's something like 70% of the olive oil circulated in the world is fake. Adulterated. It's
or it's just fake.
Yeah, it's just fake.
Yeah, it's not real.
Other product that has been, I don't know, maybe rapeseed oil or something, but
little cough time there. Yeah, without a doubt. No, and like I said, it just makes running your own business that much easier.
So when you go to that steakhouse and you pay for that meal, the quality of what you're getting and the talent that's going into every aspect of that place has to be appreciated. Like you have to see it, right? Like you see it with your eyes.
Yeah, you bet. It was like I said, it was great. Super, super, super good. Great restaurant. And it was just, I will be back. Again, like you said, it's not something I go to eat there once a week. Right. Yeah. It's like, for a special occasion, I'm probably maybe planning on going for my birthday or something like that. Yes. Right. So, but it was amazing.
How are we doing for time?
We're coming up just about to the end of our little chit chat. Because again, the first time we did this, we were like, we could go on forever, and we always can go on forever.
I mean, it's all connected because we live in a major city and we're definitely making crazy choices on day to day to live here. Yep. And, we're sort of,
Yeah. But it's a great city. I love it. I've, like I said, born and raised here. I love Vancouver. I've gotten to travel a lot of different places, and there's a lot of places I love, but I love Vancouver. I love the seasons. We're into the rainy season now. I love that.
Just sort of hit us.
Yeah, I love our winters. I love everything about this city. It works for me. There may be some people it doesn't, but it's just a great place. And I'd like to thank you for making the time. I know that you've been super busy, and I'm glad that we could connect today and coming out and having a good jibber jabber about the things that we love. And you will be back again. Like I said, I'd like you to be one of my regulars.
Kelly, thank you for having me. There's one topic that I really wanted to dig into, and it was the flavors of what's happening in Vancouver right now. And I think next time we get together, we should talk about the menu at restaurants.
Yeah.
But more specifically, like the inspiration for these menus and where it's coming from.
For sure. We'll pick a bunch of restaurants and go through their menus.
I think that would be really fun.
And just talk about even specific. Yeah, that'd be amazing. Like I said, our first show did really well. People love, like we're talking about, and it's not just about food, but it's how food and the city and people and everything combined. So that sounds like a great one for next time. So again, I'd like to thank you so much for coming in. It's been great. And I'd like to thank Get Ready Sound for sponsoring me. As always, you can follow me on all my socials, the Guy Vancouver. You can listen to the podcast on Spotify. Remember to download it, follow. I appreciate it so much. I'd like to thank you again. It's Guy Vancouver saying, see you later.